Hey guys, YouTuber100 here. Alright, and now to begin my reviews for the Land Before Time movies. Now here I am with a review for The Land Before Time. So, yeah, a lot of people do look at this film as an anime classic. And yeah, this is a pretty good movie. Yeah, I don't think I would go so far to really call it like any like actual classic or anything, but it's still like a pretty good movie. I mean, yeah, this is probably like Don Bluth's greatest film. I mean, he did have like films like An American Tail and Secret of Nim and some other movies like that, but yeah, I think that this is probably the film that he's most well known for. Like, this is definitely like Don Bluth's big film. Like, this is definitely like his masterpiece. I mean, yeah, this is just like a really good film. It really does have a really good story to it, and plus it does have like some heartfelt scenes to it. But yeah, let me just get this out there real quick. I didn't cry when Littlefoot's mother died. Yeah, I'm just saying that. I'll talk more about that once I get to that part in this film. But yeah, this is definitely a really good film. It has a really good characters. The animation's pretty good. Some really good music. Yeah. This film definitely does have a lot of really good things about it. And yeah, this is definitely like the best film of the franchise. Like I've said before, just a yeah. Well, this like I said before, like the sequels really didn't turn out that well. But yeah, this film definitely was really good. And yeah, this is like definitely the best film of the franchise, hands down. Yeah, so, yeah, of course, like, Land Before Time, you, of course, like, have the five main characters. You have Littlefoot, who's, like, a long neck or an apatosaurus. Sarah, who's a triceratops or three-horn. Ducky, who's a Saurolophus or a swimmer. Petrie, who's like a pteranodon or a flyer. And then also Spike, who's a stegosaurus or a spike tail. And yeah, they're of course like all like really memorable characters. They all like kind of have their own like personalities, and yeah, they're like really good characters. Yeah, and you have like Gabriel Damon voicing Littlefoot, and yeah, this he was also like the one who was like the kid in RoboCop 2, so I found that kind of interesting. Yeah, you have Candy Hudson as Sarah. You have Judith Barcy as Ducky. And yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about what happened to her. I'm sure a lot of you know. Judith Barcy and her mother were sadly murdered by her father. And yeah, he just shot the both of them and set their bodies on fire and then shot himself. Yeah, really tragic death right there, and yeah, really a real tragedy that she was killed at such a young age. Yeah. Yeah. And you have Will Ryan as Petrie, and you also have like Pat Hingle in this film as like the narrator, and they're the voice acting in this film is also pretty good. This movie definitely does have a really good plot to it. A really good movie all around, really. Yeah, in this film, well, yeah, like in the series, like the herbivore dinosaurs are really kind of seen as like protagonists of the film, and yeah, the carnivore or dinosaurs in these films, like T-Rexes and Velociraptors, and yeah, basically any kind of carnivore that was around during this time are really looked at as the antagonists in this film, since like they are like meat eaters and they want to eat the other dinosaurs and stuff and kill them. So yeah, that's really like the concept of these films. So it's like herbivores are good, carnivores are bad. Yeah, it's basically like how these films work out. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, this film actually did come out on the exact same day that Disney did release Oliver and Company. And yeah, Nostalgia Critic in his Oliver and Company Disney Summer review, he did kind of like talk about this film a little bit, like saying that this film really did kind of feel more like a Disney film than Oliver and Company did, because yeah, this film definitely had like more like Disney style elements than Oliver and Company really did, like memorable characters and teaching life lessons and stuff. So yeah, despite the fact that this really isn't a Disney movie, this really does like did turn out like the better Disney product than Oliver and Company really did. But yeah, I'm not gonna. This isn't about Oliver and Company. This is about Land Before Time. yeah, this is definitely like a really, really good movie. I would probably give this film, I don't know, 3.25 stars out of 4. I mean, yeah, not like any like great classic or anything, but yeah, definitely a really enjoyable film for both kids and adults to enjoy. Like, this is definitely like a really good family film to watch. Alright, so yeah, let me just get right into it. This is like a relatively short movie. I mean, this film is only about like an hour long, so yeah, this review shouldn't really be too long. So, yeah, I'll probably be able to just skim right through this pretty quick. Like, well, besides the part where I'm talking about Littlefoot's mother's death and why I really didn't cry at it. But okay, let me just start talking about the film. Alright, so the film is like set during the time around the end of the Cretaceous Cretaceous era period or something, yeah. And apparently, like, there's been a really bad drought that is forcing like a lot of dinosaur herds to seek out the Great Valley. And the herds that are stopping are just stopping to let like their babies hatch, and it's showing that it shows like a few of them hatching. It shows like Ducky hatching, and then it shows Sarah hatching, and then finally it does show like Littlefoot hatching as a single baby of his herd. And apparently, like Littlefoot, its herd is only left. The only ones left of his herd are his mother and his grandparents. And so yeah. And then, like, it cuts to years later. It's not actually revealed how long it's been, but yeah, Littlefoot has grown older, and yeah, he's able to talk and stuff, yeah. And, you Littlefoot's mother is just telling him that they really have to keep journeying to find the Great Valley, and she also shows Littlefoot a leaf in the tree that's known as a tree star, which is, like, become really famous in these films, yeah. And, you know, and Littlefoot's mother was just like saying that they have a long way to go before reaching the Great Valley, and Littlefoot was really asking his mother how she can really know where the Great Valley is when she hasn't seen it before, and his mother just told him that she can just, there are some things that you just see with your heart. Nothing. And Littlefoot then like just ends up like finding like the Triceratops or three-horn herd, and he sees Sarah there, and Littlefoot and Sarah like start playing, but then Sarah's father like just stopped Sarah, and yeah, Sarah's father, he's really like become known as like one of the more like one of the most racist dinosaurs in these movies, probably the most racist, because he just wants Sarah to stick with her own kind and stuff, you know. And so then after like Littlefoot's mother took him away, she was just telling Littlefoot that each herd just sticks with their own kind for some reason, and and then she was just telling them like they have to follow the way to the Great Valley through the sun, and they would have to pass like a rock that looks like a long neck, and plus like the burning mountains, aka the volcanoes, yeah. And then, that night at Chilton, Littlefoot saw a frog, and he was trying to chase it, and then he came across Sarah again, and then Littlefoot and Sarah were playing in a pond, and then they eventually then, like, a T-Rex, or a Sharptooth, as they call it, showed up, and then, yeah, he then was chasing Littlefoot and Sarah, but then eventually Littlefoot's mother then and fought off the Sharptooth, and then as she was fighting him off, eventually, like, the Sharptooth just ended up, like, biting Littlefoot's mother in the back, but yeah, she eventually was able to fight like the Sharptooth off, and then an earthquake then hit, and then yeah, the Sharptooth like just ended up being swallowed up in the earthquake. He can just yeah, and then yeah, Littlefoot and Sarah were starting to fall with the Sharptooth, but Littlefoot's mother saved them, and then it just showed them the ground was just ended up being divided, and then there were herds that ended up being separated, including Littlefoot and Sarah with their herds, and it just showed like Littlefoot and Sarah were on one end of the divide, and their families were on the other. And then it just then showed then Littlefoot finding his mother. She was just like really weak, and she just couldn't get back up. And she was just telling Littlefoot to just follow his heart to find the way to the Great Valley, and then she just ended up dying. And yeah, like I said, I just didn't cry at this because I don't understand this. This really just doesn't make any sense. How did she really die? I mean, it just was just that one bite from the shark tooth really enough to kill her? I mean, it showed the bite mark that she had, but I really don't think that would really be enough to kill her, really. Yeah, I just really don't understand how she can just die from just a small bite like that. It really just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and that's why I really don't cry at it, just because I really don't understand it at all. How does just one bite from a shark tooth that really didn't even look that bad enough to kill her? It just really, yeah, I don't understand it. And then Littlefoot was just like so depressed that all he could really think about was his mother. And then he like started to really be depressed about it. He just then started to just blame his mother for her death and his pain. And then he just then like came across like an old club tail that was named Rooter, and he was just telling Littlefoot to follow what his mother taught him and stuff. Yeah, and just like what happened wasn't anybody's fault, and he just needs to remember what his mother taught him and stuff. Yeah. Then eventually, like Littlefoot's tree star just ended up then falling down, and Littlefoot could hear like his mother's voice and she was just reminding him the way to the Great Valley. Yeah. And then Littlefoot then eventually met Ducky, who was also like separated from her family in the earthquake, and then she joined up with Littlefoot, and then they eventually also came across Petrie, who, yeah, Petrie like wasn't able to fly yet, and yeah, the three of them were journeying off to the Great Valley, and then it showed like Sarah like in down in the divided part of the ground from the earthquake. She eventually came across the sharp tooth, and she of course like thought the sharp tooth was dead, but then like she just ended up like accidentally waking up the sharp tooth, and she just ended up running off, and then she eventually bumped into Littlefoot, Ducky, and Petrie, and then she was just telling them that the sharp tooth was still alive, but yeah, Littlefoot like didn't believe her, and yeah, Sarah was basically just trying to act like she was better than everyone else, saying that she was just really brave and stuff, basically saying that she was like fending off the sharp tooth or something, and that she was just coming back to warn them and stuff. Yeah, but then as Sarah was like explaining her encounter with the sharp tooth, she ended up accidentally like flinging Ducky into like another nest, and then she then saw there was a spike tail in the egg, and then she decided to name him Spike, and then yeah, she then just like brought him along on their journey to the Great Valley. Yeah, and then the five of them then just journeyed off to find the Great Valley, and then at one point they thought they found the Great Valley when they saw a bunch of trees with green food, but then like Littlefoot then like just knew that it wasn't the Great Valley. But then they went down to those trees to get some food, and then yeah, Sarah was then just like trying to act like she could fend for herself, and she tried to get food herself. But then, as she was like bumping a tree, Littlefoot just like ended up dropping down some leaves for Sarah and stuff. Yeah, and then yeah, that night like it just showed like everyone was like first sleeping with Sarah except for Littlefoot. Littlefoot was then sleeping on his own, but then everyone eventually just ended up like gravitating over to Littlefoot and then slept along with him. Then the next morning, the Sharptooth then like found the five of them, and then Sharptooth was chasing them, and he also ended up crushing Littlefoot's tree star. But then they ended up like getting away from the Sharptooth by like going through like a small hole in the wall that was kind of just like a tunnel that the Sharptooth couldn't get through. And then they saw that he like did find that rock that looked like a long neck that Littlefoot's mother had talked about, and so then Littlefoot knew that they were going the right way. But then like on their route, just it was like getting so tiring for everyone, and they were just getting exhausted. And then Sarah decided to just then go another way, and Littlefoot tried to stop her, just telling her she was going the wrong way. But then Sarah then was like making some bitter comments about Littlefoot's mother, and then yeah, it then like turned into like a fight between Littlefoot and Sarah, and then eventually Littlefoot then just decided to just let Sarah go the wrong way, and then but then after like Ducky, Spike, and Petrie like they like just agreed that the way Sarah was going would be easier, then Littlefoot just ended up like taking off on his own, and Ducky, Petrie, and Spike just ended up going with Sarah. But then they eventually like were in some danger. Like Ducky and Spike were like surrounded by some lava, and Petrie ended up like getting stuck in a tar pit. And then yeah, Sarah also was ended up like being chased down by some bonehead dinosaurs. And then Littlefoot then like came back to save all of them. And then yeah, after like they saved Sarah, Sarah was just like really embarrassed and just still like too proud to really say that she was going the wrong way. And then she just ended up like leaving really upset. And then as Littlefoot, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike were then like crossing a pond, they then like saw the Sharptooth was nearby again, and then Littlefoot finally decided to get rid of Sharptooth once and for all. They decided to lure him to the pond and then cause him to drown in the deep end by dropping a rock onto his head. Yeah. And so then Ducky ended up like luring Sharptooth into the water. And then, yeah, Littlefoot and Spike then were trying to push a boulder on the Sharptooth's head. And then after, like, the Sharptooth then, like, ended up, like, blowing with his nose, that, like, then gave Petrie enough to fly. And then, yeah, Petrie then was able to fly for the first time, yeah. And then, yeah, the Sharptooth then was, like, jumping onto trying to like attack the boulder they were trying to push on him, but then Sarah came back and helped them push the boulder down, and then yeah, Sharptooth ended up falling into the water, and he at first like it showed that he pulled Petrie down with him, and it looked like Petrie ended up drowning too, but then after like everyone left except Ducky, Petrie then emerged back up and he was alive. And then it just showed then Littlefoot like talking. He then like saw a cloud in the sky that was like resembling his mother, and Littlefoot was then just like saying that every it's just too hard for him to find the Great Valley. But then the Littlefoot's mother spirit then ended up like just guiding Littlefoot to the Great Valley, and then yeah, then showed them they then arrived at the Great Valley, and then Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike all arrived too, and then they all saw that they had made to the Great Valley, and all their families were there, and then they all reunited with their families. Yeah, Ducky then like just basically just told her family that now Spike was their new brother. Which yeah, I don't know how she could really do that, but yeah, yeah, I guess then the parents just decided to adopt Spike anyway. Yeah. And then Petrie showed his family he could fly, and then, yeah, Sarah was also reunited with her father. I'm not sure what happened to the rest of her family. Like, when this movie started, it showed that she also had a mother and some sisters. Yeah, they never actually reveal what happened to them. It's never really explained why it's just Sarah's father that's still around, yeah. And then it showed, like, Littlefoot was also reunited with his grandparents, and then it just showed, like, a recap of what happened throughout the movie. And then, yeah, Littlefoot and the others then just rejoined with each other on a hill and embraced each other. And then the narrator was just then ending it with explaining that they grew up in the valley and it continued on for generations, and always told the story of the journey to the Great Valley and stuff. Yeah, I guess this was before all those sequels were planned, so yeah, I guess at first they were just planning to leave this at one movie, but yeah, that wouldn't be the case. And then during the credits, of course, like I've said before, it had the great song If We Hold On Together, which is a really great song. Yeah. And yeah, then the movie just ended like that. So, yeah, like I said, 3.25 stars out of 4. I mean, definitely a really good movie. I wouldn't really call it any classic or masterpiece or anything, but yeah, it is definitely like really good nonetheless, and probably Don Bluth's masterpiece movie. Like, it's definitely probably his best work. So, yeah, definitely, like, really good movie. I don't quite understand the death of Littlefoot's mother, but yeah, that's really, like, my only problem with the movie. Everything else still really good, and yeah, definitely, like, as I said before, a really good family film for children and adults to watch. Alright, so yeah, that does for my review of The Land Before Time. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and yeah, stay tuned as there's still many more Land Before Time reviews to come as I review all of the sequels. So, yeah, stay tuned for those coming up, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.